Junior Giants, Coach Andrea here, and today we're going to be trying a really fun, cool science experiment. Materials that you might need are warm water, a plastic plate. You can also use a glass plate or a metal plate, just as long as a plate has a flat surface that you can draw on. Next, you will need expo markers. I find that the expo markers work best for this experiment. With the science experiment, we're going to be following the scientific method. So the first part of the scientific method is the question. So for the purpose of this experiment, we're going to say the question is, what will happen when I paint a stick figure on a plastic plate and pour water on it? Step 2 of the scientific method is doing some background research. For this research, we are going to be talking about soluble versus insoluble objects and density of things. Soluble things are things that can dissolve in water, like powdered Gatorade. Insoluble things are things that cannot mix in water, like oil. Density is how much something has been packed into a certain amount of space. For example, a solid takes up a lot of space in something, liquid not so much, and gas is more spread out. When something has less density in liquids, the lighter density moves up. Now that we have some background research, now it's time for step 3, create a hypothesis. Hypothesis is a scientific guess based on what we know and what we think will happen in this experiment. We're going to be saying that the stick figure is going to dissolve into the water. Okay, now here comes the fun part where we actually get to do the experiment. So the first thing you want to do is get your paper plate ready, and you're going to want to have a cup of warm water. Warm water works better for this experiment. So you're going to use your expo marker and you're going to draw your stick figure. Next, you're going to want to put the warm water on the plate very slowly because the current of the water can mess up the painting a little bit, so make sure to go as slow as you can. Now, observe what happened. The next part of the scientific method is to analyze what happened. With this experiment, you'll find that actually the stick figure floated up into the water. Water looks like it has a heavier density than the expo marker ink. And if you notice, the stick figure stayed intact. It didn't dissolve. The expo ink marker is also insoluble since it didn't mix in with the water. Now, the final step of the scientific method is to report whether your hypothesis was right. My hypothesis was wrong. The stick figure did not dissolve into the water. Now we know that an expo ink marker is insoluble and has a lighter density than water. Well, that's it for this science experiment. I hope you guys had a lot of fun and you try it out at home. We'll see you at the next Junior Giants practice, and go Junior Giants!